Ready, aim, fire! Present, forward! Forward, forward! Place your other, forward! All back, position!
Honor all of those servicemen who lost their lives, men and women who lost their lives in the wars depicted on these monuments. We also place a POW MIA wreath at the base of the American flag on this coursehouse lawn. We honor all of those that gave the ultimate sacrifice in all the wars and conflicts the United States has been involved in. Thank you.
Howdy. Yeah, let me climb over there and scratch.
They go and they put another wreath at the river and then one at the park.
Here, I don't know.
Is that unloaded?
No, it needs to be loaded.
guys keep track of your own rifles.
There's a river right over there. If you care to walk
Clamp
over and
it.
take a drink,
Clamp it.
just trying to help.
No help needed. Thank you very much.
While the rifle squad is getting their reloaded, I'd like to welcome you all here to our Memorial Day ceremonies at the GAR Monument at Riverside Cemetery. We'll get them reloaded and get them lined up, and then I'm going to have the chaplain actually give a prayer as a start to this. So if you'll get lined back up again. I'd like to introduce Richard Ward, who's our chaplain of American Legion Post 45, and he'll give a prayer for our ceremony, to start our ceremony.
Almighty God and Heavenly Father, with reverence and love, we pause to pay tribute to our honored and valiant departed comrades that paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Grant that we may be ever mindful of their service to God and country. Hallow their graves. Give them courage and comfort, those who suffered the loss of loved ones, especially our Gold Star mothers. We give thanks. Watch over the graves of our comrades. Grant eternal rest, peace, and happiness to the souls of those that keep them till that hour of final reveille, on that day when they shall be called before the divine commander. May all those men be present and accounted for. May their souls and the souls of all departed veterans rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Richard. I'm now going to have a wreath presented at the base of the GAR monument. If you'll bring the wreath up, please. Place that right there. Whoop. I want to put it in front of that. Thank you.
Attention! Point home! Ready! Aim! Fire! Ready! Aim! Fire! Ready! Aim! Fire! Present! Home! Port on! Order, home! Parade, press!
It's a tradition of the Hastings Lawrence J. Bauer Post American Legion 45 to set up an avenue of flags at Riverside Cemetery for our Memorial Day ceremonies. Each of these flags has been donated back to American Legion Post 45 from families who have had those flags cover their loved veteran at the veteran's funeral. This avenue of flags is 44 flags now. We expect it to get a little bit larger. We had a loss of some flags as they beautified the cemetery here a little earlier. We thank Thank you very much for your support of the veterans and the military throughout the history of our country. As you all know, freedom is not free. It's earned and protected by our military service people around the world. There's a popular song on WBCH now, all gave some gave all. Actually saw that on something in the parade also. On Memorial Day, we honor and remember those that gave all. On Veterans Day, we honor all veterans, living and dead, from all wars and conflicts of all times. This GAR monument behind me was placed in honor of those veterans of the Civil War, the Grand Army of the Republic. Jefferson Post, and it was placed in 1914. The Civil War organization was actually the forerunner of today's American Legion. We do have a speaker today. Our speaker is Robert Jordan. Bob is presently captain at the Eaton County Sheriff's Department office with 14 years of experience. He's a graduate of Hastings High School in 1991, 6-year veteran of the U.S. Army, and a member of Post 45. Bob?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Every Memorial Day, we as a nation stop to think about the courage and sacrifice shown by the men and women who have served our country. We visit the graves of family members who have given literally all that they had to defend our shores and uphold our freedom. And remembering the words of President Ronald Reagan, who said, "The price of freedom is at times been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price." I was reminded of these words recently when I came across a video that contained passages from Reagan's first inaugural address. In his first speech, Reagan gave tribute to all those heroes who have paid freedom's highest price. But was it worth it? This is the question that is often asked of family and friends and war buddies of our fallen heroes. Marine Corps General John Kelly recently offered a unique perspective. A veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan himself, General Kelly lost his youngest son, First Lieutenant Robert Kelly, while conducting combat operations in the Helmand Province in 2010. General Kelly was asked if the loss was worth it by a reporter, and he said, quote, "I think what I tell families now is the only person that has the right to answer that question is the young man or woman that lost their life. And I believe that they would say it's what they wanted to do. They were where they wanted to be. So that's the answer, I think, to the question. It is not for us that survive to answer it. It is for the young people to answer. And I think they do in their actions and obviously their lives. Who can deny that heartfelt wisdom and logic of General Kelly's words? But just as we should not presume to speak for the fallen, we can make this country for which they died for a better place. One that honors their sacrifice and epitomizes the ideals enshrined in our Constitution. In 2003, Army Private First Class Diego Rinkin of Conyers, Georgia, wrote to his mother from Iraq, and he said to her, "Whether I make it or not, it's all part of the plan. It cannot be changed, but only completed. Mother will be the last word I say. Your face will be the last picture that goes through my eyes. And I just hope you're proud of what I'm doing and have faith in my decisions." Not long after that, PFC Rinkin was killed in action. The American Legion will always be proud of the selfless service of Robert Kelly, Diego, and the more than 1 million men and women who have given the supreme sacrifice for the United States since our nation's founding. General Kelly is right. Was it worth it? Is the wrong question for us to answer. Instead, we should commit ourselves to making it worth it. We should insist that America remain the land of the free, a land land where patriotism trumps politics, where the American flag is displayed proudly and frequently, and where military veterans are society's true celebrities. We must never forget the families of our fallen long after the battlefield guns have silenced and the bombs stop exploding. There are children without fathers, mothers. There are spouses without partners and parents without children. And they continue to grieve for their heroic sons and daughters as they died way too early. We need to be there for them, not just as members of the American Legion family, but as American citizens. Nobody can replace these fallen heroes, especially in the eyes of their loved ones and their families. But we can offer shoulders to cry on, educational assistance, and assurances that their loved one's sacrifice will never be forgotten. While there is nothing unpatriotic about an auto race, a trip to the beach, or a barbecue, we are here today to reflect on the true meaning of Memorial Day. Let us remember that tyrannical regimes have been toppled, genocide stopped because Americans sacrificed life and limb. Let us remember that terrorist plots were foiled and killers brought to justice because Americans were willing to pay a high price. Let us remember that without the U.S. military, the world would be a far more oppressive and darker place. And let us remember that freedom never had a greater friend than the American soldier, sailor, Marine, and Coast Guardsman. The loss of service members touches all communities. Sergeant Kip Allen Jacoby was tied to our community and whose story was told in the movie Lone Survivor. Sergeant Jacoby, or Kip, was a member of the Army Special Operation Aviation Regiment, 160th Night Stalkers, who in broad daylight and under intense enemy fire tried to rescue Navy SEALs tasked with hunting Osama bin Laden. On June 28, 2005, Kip's Chinook helicopter was hit by an RPG, killing him and 19 other members of the Army Special Operation Aviation Regiment and Navy SEALs. Kip's uncle and cousins still reside in our community today. His grandparents, Ernest and Lucy Jacoby, were teachers here and entrepreneurs. Kip had often spent summers on the Thornapple River, in the water, canoeing, having fun, and skiing on Gun Lake. And he was also a Boy Scout and a Cub Scout. To us, the sacrifice made by Sergeant Jacoby to fight terrorism was certainly worth it. But the answer is infinitely more complex if your son, daughter, wife, and husband are asked to sacrifice at freedom's altar. Some veterans have said it's far more difficult to send your family to war than to go yourself. So while was it worth it, the question can only truly be answered by those who have made that ultimate sacrifice. It's up to all of us here to make it worth it. Thank you for being here. God bless America, and God bless our fallen heroes.
Thank you very much, Bob. There's some other people that I'd like to thank. First of all, members of the American Legion Post 45, Color Guard, Rifle Squad, people that helped transport the veterans and the auxiliary in the tram, our Legion Riders who followed along with us today and who help us out with many, many things that we do at the post. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts. Believe me, we could not decorate this lineup of flags. We could not get the flags out on the markers you see around in the cemetery without the help of the Scouts. They're a tremendous advantage for us. I thank you all. We have one more tradition that we do here at Riverside Cemetery during our ceremonies. We honor the most recently buried veteran at Riverside Cemetery as the final part of our ceremony. That veteran at this time is Dwayne Jarman. Dwayne Jarman is buried right back here, and so we will be moving the ceremonies from here back to there to place this wreath at Dwayne's headstone to again have a rifle salute and taps played, although the American Legion Color Guard did that for Dwayne earlier in May. So if I can end this ceremony now, and thank you all for being here, and if you wish to walk back with us to Dwayne Jarman's, we'll finish up there. Thank you again. Dwayne Eris Jarman was born May 25th, 1923, to Eris and Georgia Jarman in Hastings. He graduated from Hastings High School in 1941. He did run track while he was in high school. He enlisted in the United States Army in 1943 and served until January 1946. He was stationed in China, Burma, India, with the 930th Engineer Aviation Regiment. So much for joining the Navy to see the world. You can join the Army and go where DJ went, all over the place. He learned electrical work from his father and in the Army. After the military, he sold insurance for Metropolitan Life for a while. He later bought and owned DJ Electric Services in Hastings for 16 years. DJ employed several young people in Hastings to work in his shop. He eventually sold out to Stu Keeler. He also served on the volunteer fire department for 20 years and several City of Hastings boards. He is survived by his son Darwin and daughter Darlene, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, 3 sisters, and 1 brother. We also have 3 of his relatives here in attendance today. His wife Mildred Etta Will, also from Hastings, preceded him in death. Dwayne was actually looking forward to his scheduled participation in an honor flight to Washington, D.C. on June 4th of this year with the Talons Out Honor Flight Group. I personally think he's going to be there. I really do. DJ, rest in peace. Thank you for your service to our country and to our city. I'd like to have that wreath placed now. Put that right here, young man. Stand back and you and I'll salute when they do after they do the rifle.
Hold. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Present. Home.
trumpeters for our echo taps today. We appreciate them every year. Thank you very much. This concludes our 2016 Memorial Day ceremony. Thank you all for attending, and pray for everlasting peace. Thank you. Thank you.
I have my truck over here for anybody to get on the truck.
Or you can have
And hold at least 4.
Well, I ain't walking, I can tell you that.
Come on, Mira. So where's your truck? Show a little class for the rest.
It's only like a mile.
Mile and a half.